As many as 13,892 student suicides were reported in 2023 as per the National Crime Records Bureau. The steep rise in student suicides prompted the Supreme Court to form a national task force in March 2025. Supreme Court ordered every higher education institution to fill a mandatory online survey on student mental health and suicide prevention. The 18-member task force is engaged in identifying key causes of student suicides, reviewing regulations for systemic gaps, and recommending measures to improve mental health and prevent death by suicide. However, there has been a very poor response for the survey with only a 10% participation by colleges. The survey was meant to reach more than 60,000 colleges and universities across India and to every single one of the 43 million enrolled students. The original deadline was October 31st, 2025. However, only 6,357 institutions have responded so far, which is barely 10%. And students? Fewer than 7 lakh have filled the survey, which is just about 1.6% of the total 4.3 crore. The National Task Force has extended its online survey deadline to December 15, 2025 now. Meanwhile, the issue of the rise in the cases of student suicides is alarming and worrying, with 13,892 lives lost in 2023, which is 6.5% more from the year before. As many as 13,044 student suicides were reported in 2022, a 6.1% surge from 2021. There were 13,089 student suicides reported in 2021, which saw a significant increase of 10.8% from 12,526 suicides in 2020. Given this critical trend, it is extremely crucial that this mental health survey is taken seriously. Ensuring the participation of the higher education institutions is a big challenge for the task force. Even in states with high student suicide numbers, participation is lagging. The states with higher number of higher education institutions such as Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal and Odisha have shown poor response rate compared to other states and union territories. The National Task Force members say that the incomplete data will make their final report in 2026 meaningless and any policy recommendations will not be effective for implementation. The poor response is due to institutional non-cooperation. The deadline extension would help improve more responses. The poor response would make the data incomplete and the final report won't be accurate. Mental health experts say that the response would help understand the mental health challenges of students, how exam pressure becomes unbearable for them, and how their education is impacted. Therefore, the survey needs to be taken seriously and responses should be collected properly and in adequate numbers.
I think it's a welcoming move because these kind of task force is definitely needed, and suicide is more prevalent among students, and especially among college students, and more specifically more among medical college students. I worked as a school counselor and I've also worked in Juvenile Justice Bureau. Plus, currently, I'm handling a lot of clients from colleges where there is a lot of pressure which the parents doesn't put, but even the institution doesn't put, but the student themselves, they take it and then they feel very pressured. And the one who are not able to handle this pressure, they go through these aspects of suicidal tendencies or suicidal attempts, and then finally it leads to ending of suicide. So this kind of task force is needed, and we can use this in prevention of mental health aspects, especially school mental health programs are proven techniques where there is a lot of mental health awareness, prevention activities can be done, and a good mental health can be built if we start it quite early at the earlier stage. So I think the institution should come up and then submit to these kind of issues what their students are facing, so that they can break the stigma and students can access to these kind of services. And since suicide is transgenerational and it is genetic, we can prevent it from getting transferred to another generation. And suicide doesn't harm only the person, it harms whole the family, because there's a lot of guilt that leads to parents and teachers or their caregivers. So it is definitely a welcoming move and it should be taken into account.
The National Task Force also urged the institutions and students to ensure participation to improve the outcomes of the survey and help formulate a policy that would prevent student suicides with the recommendations of the National Task Force.